the year of our Lord 2019, and I'm Buster Bruce, and we're interviewing Miss Bobbie Mcqueen this morning. Just because not only is she pretty, but she cooks good, and I'm going to let Bobbie tell you, if you want to, how old you are, or and the year you was born, if you want to do that. If you don't, we'll move on to the next question.
Well, I don't mind telling my age. I'm 91.
91, you was born in 1929.
27.
27.
Yeah.
Okay.
And where were you born, and your parents' names?
I was born in Blue Mountain, Arkansas, and my mother's name was Ruby Brown before she married, and she married my daddy. His name was Clarence Gillum, and they lived at Blue Mountain until they moved to Oklahoma, and the Browns and the Gillums, I don't know how long they'd lived there, but it's been a long time. They had lived there at Blue Mountain, and they moved to Oklahoma.
Seminole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what year they moved there in. I believe they must have been in 19, and I was born in 27. It's probably in 25 or 26 that they moved to an oil boom town for, I guess, to work. You know, the oil boom, the Seminole had boomed, and they moved out there and then the whole clan come. The whole bunch came out there, and they all.
Was it both sides, your mother's people and your daddy's
people?
No,
my mother's people stayed in Arkansas, and my daddy's people moved out there.
Okay, to Seminole.
To Seminole, yeah. And my grandfather, and he was a druggist at Blue Mountain, and his drugstore burnt. He had lived there for years because my grandfather, daddy, was a doctor, Dr. Gillum. And he lived there. They lived there, and his brother was a druggist, but he didn't have a drugstore there. But my grandfather had a drugstore, and it burnt. And then when it burnt, well, they moved, I guess, with everybody went to the oil field at Seminole.
Well, your mother moved. I went back to Arkansas, though, to deliver you, right?
That's right. She went back down there and stayed, and she went on a train, and she stayed till I was born, and then when I was 2 weeks old, well, she brought me back to Seminole.
On the train?
On a train. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This has been 1927.
Yeah. I was born in May, so, yeah.
Till the last of May, 1st of June,
yeah,
1927.
And we lived there in...
Do you, what, about 12?
I was 12. We came to Eric, in the war broke out in 41, didn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
We moved in 42. We come to Eric, Oklahoma. My mother and I and Daddy, and our pastor of our church, his wife, and a grown daughter and 2 little kids came out and pulled bowls that fall the war.
When you say pull bowls, you're talking about?
Cotton. Pick cotton. We pulled the bowls instead of the
fiber.
Fiber, you know, we pulled the bowls. Mm-hmm.
And now, can you tell us some of your memories when you were first at Seminole? I mean, when you were there till you were 12, so...
Yeah, my first memory, I must have been about 3 years old, and I played with my 2 little cousins. And I remember playing with them. My grandmother run a boarding house. And I don't know, how it got started, but the men got to bootlegging. And so anyway, it was a real rough, place, and so anyway, I remember the two kids, my aunt and my uncle. I guess he was my uncle. I never seen him or remember him, but he got sent to jail or penitentiary or something, and my aunt was working nights and trying to take care, and his mother took care of the kids. And then he got out of jail one night, and when she got off from work, went and got to get the kids. Well, they were gone. And I think the boy was about 30-something years old when he found his mother. The grandmother and daddy took off, and so, but that's my earliest memories of my playing with anybody or anything, is those kids out in the yard at my grandmother's boarding house. She used to cook for all those hands that worked in the oil field and had a room for them to sleep in. So, and they had a lot of bootlegging and stuff going on in that because there's so many oil field work people moved in there, I guess, to work in the oil field.
Were you an only child?
Yes, I am. I'm an only child. And I went to school there. I went to 2 different schools. In
Seminole.
At Seminole. At Seminole. Yeah, I started in the kindergarten, and we had to walk. I did a little ways to the school. It wasn't far. And when I was in the 7th grade, we moved to another place, and I went to school at another place in the country, and it didn't have a bus, so we had to walk a mile every day. My 7th and 8th grade I had to walk a mile every day. And we'd meet at the corner. We lived on a crossroads, and the kids we'd all gang up and move. We had a few fights and a few disagreements, but nobody knew it but us, because we'd get a spanking if the principal said we'd get a spanking if you fought on the way to school, from school. So, and I kind of egged a lot of it up sometimes. I was kind of a...
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that.
All right. When y'all moved here, when you were 12 or pretty close?
I was 12.
And
that was in 41 when the war started. The war started while we were still pulling bowls out there.
And your daddy farmed for the men through the war because his boy and most of the men
were gone.
But your dad had polio as a child or developed it in his youth.
He was a real crippled. He was really a crippled up.
Polio.
But he worked all the time, and this man called Daddy after we pulled bowls that fall when the war started. We went back to Seminole, and then he wrote a letter and asked Daddy if he would come and take over that boy's crop, because he had to go to the Army. And we went out there, and Daddy, we had a house, and we moved in it. We moved in one day. We went to the field the next day. And my mother and I chopped cotton 1 whole month. We cleaned that crop up. It was just grown up. And we cleaned it up, and then Daddy made us go back, or made us, he didn't make us. We went back over it, quick as it rained or done something, and Daddy didn't want no weeds, so we had to go back over it and do it again. But I don't remember how many acres it was, but he sharecropped. This man, Mr. Holland, was his name, and he furnished the team and everything, and Daddy and me and Mama farmed that land. And I don't know how many years Daddy had it, but this boy, well, I guess 4 years because we did it till the war was over. And when the boy came back, Daddy rented some more land. And that's how Daddy got started farming. Was that we made really good crop that year. And we picked it, pulled it, we pulled bowls. And my daddy was crippled and he couldn't walk, but he put on knee pads and he crawled and pulled bowls.
And had to pull one of those long sacks behind him.
He did, and then me and Mama, we would have to empty him. And I was 12 years old, and I'll tell you then, you grew up fast. You know, I worked, and then we got milk cows. We had the milk too on top of that. Daddy bought milk cows. And they sold cream and chickens. Mama brought, I don't know where we got the chickens. I think I guess they bought them little, and she raised a bunch of chickens. And we had chickens, and wasn't long till we had eggs and chicken and and everything. And they sold cream and eggs. And you went to town on Saturday and did your laundry because we didn't have any running. We didn't have washing machines. We didn't have one.
Right.
And so we'd go to town on Saturday and do the laundry and sell your cream and buy your groceries and buy your cow feed or whatever you had and come back, you know.
Right.
And then you worked all week. You didn't. At that age, I wasn't going nowhere, so we went to school. I went to school at Texola, Oklahoma, and so.
Okay. So basically, you had the milk cows and sold the cream. What did you do with the milk?
We fed pigs.
Okay.
And the calves. If the cows had baby calves, you fed them, and then.
Right.
What was left, you just fed them so much milk, you know.
Right.
And then we raised pigs.
Okay.
You had your own beef, your own lard and eggs and stuff, huh?
You sold eggs and cream.
Yeah. You took your cream to town.
Mm-hmm,
they kept it in a
10-gallon
can, you know.
But it's sour cream.
Oh, yeah, it was sour cream, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They sold the sweet cream to the ice cream bar.
People did. We didn't ever have sweet cream because we didn't have a place to
refrigeration.
Mm-hmm. And I don't remember. That's 41, wasn't that? Seemed to me like that's when the electricity began to come. We rented a real nice home, a place there. It had a real nice home on it, and his name was Johnson, I believe. And him and his wife went to the defense plants in California, and they rented that place to us, and it was a real nice one. And I think it had electricity.
Okay, so it was already wired.
It was already wired, yeah.
Did you have running water as well?
No, we didn't have running water. We had a cistern. You know what those are?
Mm-hmm. I do. Just a cement catch tank.
Yep, that's what we had.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a big one, and it was nice, and the water was clean, and I don't know how it was fixed because I just know it was okay.
And basically, you had to depend on rainwater.
Yeah, for the water.
Ran into that cistern. Now,
Well, we had windmills, I know, for the cow water, for the cows to water.
Okay.
But it wasn't up at the house, so I know that it had water for the cattle, but I don't know where it was at. I don't remember that.
And you're not sure how the water got into the cistern, or whether it was
Yeah,
the roof of the house?
Yeah, it came out. It was on the house because this place was really nice. It was up to date it was about the best looking place around there, and it had a cement cistern and everything.
Now, did it have a cover to it?
Yes.
Or was it open?
No, it had a cover to it. But the first water dog I ever seen come out of that well. Do you know what a water dog is?
Yes, ma'am.
I guess everybody at Fishes does, but we didn't know what one was.
Yeah, you might describe them for the recording though? Because a lot of people who are watching this may not know what a water dog is.
Well, I don't know how to describe it. It looked to me, that's kind of, I don't know. How would you describe it? Looked kind of like a little alligator to me.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of like a little alligator.
They're an amphibian.
Yeah.
Salamander is
Yeah.
the name for them.
Yeah.
You remember what color they were?
This one, I guess, was in the water, and it was just kind of, didn't have any color much. It kind of flesh color, I think. I don't remember really, and tell you the truth, what it looked like. Only it was just a.
Lots of people call them spring lizards. You know, kind of.
I don't know, but that we come out of that cistern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lord,
And there are some color variations. maybe
Black.
on
Mm-hmm.
the
yeah.
species.
Well, this one wasn't black.
Yeah.
And anyway, I know I nearly died. I thought it.
But you fed the overage milk to
the
the
pigs.
calves and
Pigs.
to the
Mhm.
what the calves didn't get the
pigs.
the
did.
pigs, and
Yeah.
that's after them cows fresh, and obviously you're milking the milk for human consumption, and the calves got what was left over.
Yeah.
So
And we made our own butter. You know, we used our own cream. Man, I tell you what, that cream is wonderful.
but y'all had a cream separator.
Yeah, we did.
Con-
Well, that's what you. Yeah, we separated the milk.
From the cream,
from the
or cream
cream.
from the milk. Mhm.
And you sold the cream and kept the milk,
Mhm.
and it was what they call now number. What is that? It don't have any cream on it. Milk.
You talking about homogenized,
No,
Condensed milk.
pasteurized,
No.
pasteurized?
no, pasteurized where you heat it and.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's you get milk that don't have cream, and then you get whole milk and
Buttermilk.
buttermilk, and then the
2% fat.
2%. Well, see, that's what the 2% is. No cream.
Yeah.
But the whole milk's got a red lid,
Mm-hmm.
and the buttermilk's got green.
Mm-hmm.
But we made our own butter. We made our own butter, and boy, it was a lot different than what it is now. I tell you, this butter you get.
Well, you mentioned a while ago, Bobbie, that you were 12 when y'all moved to Eric,
Yeah.
and that's when the cattle and selling the eggs, and how many chickens did y'all?
Well, Mom would buy 100 nearly all time and raise them.
Mm-hmm.
And we had fried chicken, you know, when the roosters first come on, got up big enough. Then afterwards, well, you had chicken and dumplings because the chickens was too old to fry, so you had chicken and you boil the chicken. So, yeah, about what meat, pork and chicken was about all we had because we couldn't have
Beef.
beef. We didn't have any ways to keep it till later years, and then they put in a freezer where you'd go into town and you could rent those freezers.
Freezer locker.
The lockers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time,
Well, a lot of people, especially here in the Panhandle, where windmills are utilized a lot, would put a pulley on the windmill and pull that beef up above the fly line. You know, where the flies just go up so high, you know, and they'd raise and lower that beef and cut them whatever they wanted off the
yeah.
deal.
We had a neighbor out here after we moved.
It still did that.
He had a ranch, and I don't know where he kept that meat, but they just hung it up and cut a hunk of it off when they wanted to eat it.
Well, a lot of people had freezer lockers or walk-in coolers by that time.
Oh, I know they did, but he didn't.
Oh, he didn't?
Oh, no.
Still lowered and raised.
I don't know what it was. I don't remember it, but I know that that's what they lived, is my neighbor. She taught me more than anybody. She was an older,
About?
Well, about after we married and moved out here to
You talking about Harvey?
no B, Ware, and this lady they lived on a ranch and they had a
At
ranch.
Dalhart.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that lady and I did we redid furniture. She taught me how to do that, and we went to home demonstration clubs together, and she bought a set of cabinets to put in her kitchen, and we put them together, and everything. She was in her 40s and I was in my 20s, and her kids were. She had a daughter same age as my daughter, and those kids played together, and we just had a ball. We lived out in the country, no TV, but we had a time of doing refinishing furniture, and we moved into an old store building, an old Bobbie, and I completely redone that thing. Didn't know how, but I got it done. It looked better than it did, and I moved in it. I lived in it 5 years. But that's after I married. And we had a home in it.
Well, we kind of got ahead here a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
And that's fine. But you married.
At Erie.
I know, but you were 16 years old.
Yeah, like 1 month being 17 years old when I got married.
And by today's standards, that'd be
Horrible.
They'd have you in jail for, at least it had to be in jail for child molestation. But in that day and time, it wasn't unusual for a girl to marry as early as 14. You know?
That's right.
I mean, and anyway, but pronounce his name for me. It's Beyonville. Pershing. Wasn't it after the
No, they
general?
call him Pershing. I don't know why they call him. But anyway, it's Beyondville Pershing Catlett.
Mm-hmm. And you stayed married to him for 47 years.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So
had 2 kids.
And that was Laurel and Loretta.
Mm-hmm.
And Laurel is the retired Dean of Agriculture from the University of Mexico at Las Cruces.
That's right.
And Loretta was a housewife, and her husband was a professor at Ames, Iowa College.
Yeah,
Okay.
Des Moines. No, Des Moines.
Des Moines, okay. Now, you're talking about Des Moines, Iowa, no, not Des Moines, New Mexico, right?
No, it's Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay. And then after B died, y'all were together, married 47 years.
Yeah, we were. Mm-hmm.
And then after the kids obviously were born and all that, when B died, you married L.D.
Singleton.
Yes, ma'am, Singleton. And y'all were married 7 years, and he died of cancer.
Of the lungs.
Throat.
Lungs.
Lung cancer.
Mm-hmm. He had a heart attack.
On the ranch.
Yeah, he went back out to the ranch and had a heart attack and died.
And then L.D., y'all were married 7 years and lived at Dalhart.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after L.D. died, you married Bobbie Mcqueen. And y'all were married 18 years.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, can you tell us? You started running a children's home in Dalhart before Biamble died.
Yeah, we started out at the ranch where we lived. I started keeping kids.
Foster kids?
Yeah,
or?
girls. I kept girls for several years. And then I went to, I had a dress shop. They
In
had
town there in Dalhart.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And before I started the dress shop, I had kept kids all the time. And then when I had the dress shop, I still kept kids. Had kids there, and with me. And then I took over the children's home. I worked for Buckner's a year and a half or something like that. And then they pulled out, and I took over the facilities and run it for a long time. I don't remember how many years, but anyway, a long time.